So we are going to take nice deep breaths, a few of them, all the way to our belly. And we're going to release the breath. And as we release the breath, we're also going to release any tension, any tightness, any not fun energies that we feel. And as I was wondering, I just put the thought out there. I wonder what kind of a meditation shall we do today? And this is what came back to me. Is that since everything is energy and all creation before they actually come into material state of being is in energy form. And wherever we place our attention and our intention, we create that energy. So the thought occurred to me that if we are able to place attention on our immediate reactions to the outside world and take the ones that kind of put us not in a good place, either they arouse our anxieties or our unhappiness or our fears or tensions and all of that. And we do know that those events they come. They are not rare. Every day we meet several of these things that is happening outside of us, outside of our control, or even outside of our immediate ability to influence that. So I'm going to ask you to take a nice deep breath, and we're going to shift that perception a little bit. So it would be good if we are able to bring something to your mind that has bothered you in recent times, has filled you with anxiety. When you look at it, you felt maybe belittled, maybe insulted, maybe helpless. I have no way of changing this around. Just bring one such instance into the mind, into the awareness. We're going to breathe around that event and ask ourselves, this is not a fun thing to think about, because it takes me to some anxiety, some fear, some dissonance within me. And of course, I had nothing to do with creating this idea or this thought, but I am reacting to the energy that comes with it. And that energy is mine. That is my reaction to something which is outside of my control. And if I just allow it to take its course without any intervention, I might find that this thought or this reaction is getting stronger. And my mind is likely to convince me that yes, that is right. These kinds of things happen. And when they do, these other kinds of things add to it. So just pause there for a moment and think of the situation that you have brought into your mind. and the reaction that you have felt, and the thought your mind has prompted. And the negative thought process that it has generated or has the potential to degenerate. And all that is true. And this is where I'm going to ask you to take a nice deep breath and ask yourself this question: while it is true right now, does it have to continue in this path? Or as a creator and as a small particle, a fractal of the Supreme Creator, do I have any part at all in changing the course of this energy? So let's take the deep breath and consider that again. This thing that has attracted my attention, that has created this negative thought and feeling. My mind tells me that this is the way it goes. History tells me this is the way it will go. My own earlier experiences tell me the same. There is sufficient data, there is sufficient research which can prove conclusively that when a thought creates an energy as such, it rapidly starts going downhill unless we intervene. And we wish to intervene at this time, not physically, not with brute strength, not with arguments, not necessarily with words even. We wish to intervene with our energy field. We take into consideration the new findings of science that what we imagine, we attract to ourselves. I'm going to pause here and ask myself, can I make space for a different possibility in my mind? Not in the direction that this energy was headed, but quite in the opposite direction. If all the evidence out there thus far tells me that this matter is headed downhill, can I take a pause and take a deep breath and say, I am not going there. I refuse to imagine the worst case scenarios, no matter how loudly the rest of the world may be screaming. I am stepping aside from that mainstream of thought. And I'm turning around. And I am creating another possibility. I am using my gift of imagination that only human beings have been gifted with to imagine a future which does not end up in that dire situation. In my mind's eye, I am visualizing a future where there is peace between enemies, between fighting groups, where there is calm, where there was stress. I'm using my imagination to see smiles where there was tears. And I'm arresting those memories that want to raise their heads and say, oh, but you remember, this is not what happened then. And while I acknowledge that, that is true, let me also acknowledge at that time we did not know the power of our imagination, the power of our thoughts with intention, the power of our coming together with an end in mind, which is for the highest good. So from here, each time I meet such an eventuality, this is my strategy. I pause. I acknowledge the bad feeling. I take a deep breath. I make space around that thought so other thoughts can also be accommodated. And I imagine an outcome that my heart wants. And even though my mind may loudly claim that that will never happen, I am going to stand right here in alignment with my heart's desire, because that is how we create. Because that is how our heart takes us into those areas where their creative energies are gathering. And my imagination gets better and better because as I do this often, more often, I start seeing the results, however small and little it may be to begin with. And I start noticing and sometimes my mind says, oh, but that was just a coincidence, just a happenstance. But I know it may be so, but there was a little bit of it that I was instrumental in changing an energetic pathway which could have easily led to and created something unwanted. to a direction that I know the larger humanity, the larger group, my own community, my own friends and family, we all wish to go in this direction. And it's only now that we are learning about the power of our thoughts, our imagination, our steadfast commitment to that which I wish to see in the world, no matter how crazy that may sound. So taking a deep breath. And this I know that day by day, I get plenty of opportunities to practice this skill. Turning around the direction of that creative energy. And the happier I can feel, it's the emotion that gives it power. Be it imagining the goodness and the excitement around it, that has power as much as the fear and the anxiety and the frustration. So it is my choice. It is our choice. And it is a skill that we need to develop to recognize quickly, immediately, as soon as I react negatively to something. And that feeling of powerlessness that I cannot do anything about it. It's okay. That may be the truth for now. But I'm looking into the future, where our awareness, our collective knowledge, our focus, and the energy that we gather can gather sufficient momentum to make this into a reality. These are exciting times. Thank you, thank you, thank you.